This episode is brought to you by Cruising Bears, a global travel community built on giving bears, chubs, and chasers the ultimate vacation escape. Visit bigfatgaycruise.com for details. Hello, and welcome to the Big Fat Gay Podcast, where we talk about the things that are weighing on our minds. My name is Michael Willer. I am a chubby chaser, and today I am a
You're coked.
rally boy because we got another episode to do today. God damn it, and we're doing it. Let's go.
Hey, my name's Don. I'm a big chubby guy, and I'm here living in sunny Hollywood. And today I have a serious case of Take Two syndrome. This is our second podcast of the day.
Oh my goodness!
The amount of energy I'm channeling after this gigantic sandwich I've eaten is enormous.
Yes.
I could power a city.
Well, you always look good with an enormous sandwich in your hand, Don. Hi, I'm Dan Oliverio, author, public speaker, and chubby chaser. And today I am a well-caffeinated boy. I have my tea. I have had my coffee. I've had my coffee and my tea, and my coffee.
Good Lord.
And
your sandwich.
And I had a sandwich.
I'm Trevor Keyson. I'm a super chub, and I'm a sensible half of a meatball sub boy.
I
didn't finish it because I knew then I would be too full and sleepy. So I had half a meatball sub, and then having a nice cup of coffee is a sensible meal.
Sensible
And
is your
feeling
other.
very superior, apparently.
Sensible is your other middle name, isn't it, Trevor? His original middle name is No Pants. Trevor No Pants.
Trevor Sensible, no bands.
Hi, welcome back to the show, everybody. We are in person. We're feeling that second episode of the day, chaotic in-person energy. But we're here and we're excited to get started. So thank you first off to our patrons who support us on Patreon every month. Thank you also to regular listeners out there just supporting the show. We love you guys very much, and that's why we do these week after week. We also want to mention that we have our partners that we work with. We have Bearskin, where you can get some nice underwear, perhaps a swimming garment coming up. You can use the promo code BigFatGayPod to save 15% off of your order. That also gives us a kickback and supports the show. If you need a new mattress, you can use the Big Fig link on our website.
Big Fig.
And we have our new sponsor of the show. We're very, very happy to talk about Cruising Bears. They're getting ready for their Mega Rockstar cruise to Bermuda, departing from New York on April 11th this year. They organize all kinds of fun cruises for bears, chubs, chasers, people in our community who want to get together and have a fun vacation. They are our sponsor, and we love them very much. Thank you. You can go to... Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I would love to do a bigger cruise style thing at some point. But my vacation doesn't really work that way this year, unfortunately. But they are doing a bigger cruise in June 27th is where it starts. It's going to Alaska.
And it ends July 4th, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a nice chunky...
Finish up your cruise with multiple bangs. Fireworks. What were you thinking?
So if you are enticed by any of those cruising options or others that they may have available, you can go to bigfatgaycruise.com for more details.
Yes.
And with that, we shall dive into our episode with some pop culture.
We are kicking it off, kicking it, thicking it, all sorts of sicking it.
Trevor Keyson.
With a story from The Nation. I was so excited when I saw this. I'm like, I can use this in the podcast.
It is so friggin' great.
From The Nation, specifically from
And by the way, The Nation is a publication.
Yes, the Nation. The Nation, the publication, specifically Student Nation, which is a program they do for the National Fund for Independent Journalism, where they work with students, journalism students, and which is relevant to this story. So this story comes from Colin Warren talking about an Alaska student who was arrested for eating an AI art exhibit.
Bless his heart.
I love this. And very intentionally. So he did it as a form of protest.
Yes.
Specifically because, as in his words, they interview him at the end of the article, and you can see an abridged version of it. But he talks about how, he didn't know that part of that art gallery had AI art in it. So,
Yes.
because the rest of the gallery was quite
Right. And it was a fellow student's art, if I recall.
Yeah.
Yes. So a fellow student did some AI art because he, by his own acknowledgement, has kind of an unhealthy attachment to AI.
fell in love with a chatbot.
Fell in
Yes.
love with the chatbot
Like
and decided
her.
to make all this AI art, and the AI is his muse.
And it sort of shows them like combining into one person in a series of Polaroid photos that were generated by AI.
Well, our hero wouldn't be having any of that.
Yes.
He-
Graham Granger, a film and performing arts major, saw this and was just so enraged that he just started tearing these Polaroid photos off the wall and just like tearing them up and eating them.
Because in his opinion, the problem with AI is that it gobbles up and spits out art.
Yeah.
Yes, and a witness described it, she says he was tearing them up and just shoving them down as fast as he could. Like when you see people in a hot dog eating contest. According to the police estimate, around 57 of the 160 images
Wow.
on the wall were destroyed.
Yeah.
Now, these weren't Polaroids, they were printouts, right?
Yeah, they
Well,
were.
it was Polaroid style.
They were
yeah.
supposed to look like Polaroids.
And my first thought was like, oh my God, he ate all those chemicals in the ink and AI is toxic. Really? And so,
I mean, he
but no, he
talks about-
spit them out. He
yeah.
spit them out.
Now, some of them. He ate some of them.
He did
a little
swallow a
bit,
few.
but he didn't.
Yeah, but so they actually do talk to both the artist whose quote, and I am going to use my own air quotes here, whose art got destroyed, Nick Dwyer, who talks about how, he sort of explains what the exhibit was. And this is, I think, important because the rest of the gallery was not AI art. The rest of it was just regular art. And then this one particular part of it from this one artist had AI generated art in it. And he talks about how, like, in his view,
This is the artist.
Nick. He's saying, you feel like AI is a lens that it's viewing humanity. And so, some people will see this as stealing from artists, but the other way to see it as it's an extension of humanity. It's AI art might be a tax on the artist. For instance, like as you make your own art, but then if someone else has an AI go scrape your art to generate their own thing, that's basically a quote unquote tax. That's how he's talking about it.
Sort of like when you're a serf and you work the master's land and they take a portion of it for their wealth.
Yeah, sort of like how, you have someone steal things for you.
Yeah. There we go.
And so you're not stealing, you're just, culpable.
What I love is they're basically saying is like your agreement and consent is not necessary for our participation.
For our profit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, so our hero, Graham Granger.
Granger.
I love the name. I mean, come on, that's
He
a
sounds
superhero.
like a superhero
Isn't
name,
that a
yeah.
superhero
It
name?
does. It sounds very much like the alternate ego.
Matter Eater Lad.
No, Graham Granger, the non-superhero name of like the masked AI Avenger.
Yes.
Just starts ripping it off the wall and eating it and spitting it out as a sort of, I think,
Specifically, no, it was intended
Performance art.
performance art, but very
as a-
spontaneous.
Not even as so much as performance art, as a protest against the college that they attended for putting on this exhibit that featured AI art.
Yeah.
He didn't expect it to get any kind of news coverage. He just wanted to make sure that the college that he was attending knew that he felt this was not okay whatsoever.
Right. No, the reason I bring in performance art is because the journalist who interviewed Graham Granger, our hero, they said, like, was this like performance art? And he's like, yeah, I guess so, but I didn't come in with it in mind.
It wasn't premeditated.
It wasn't
that's for sure.
premeditated,
He just sort of wandered in because he had some free time and then got to the end.
And he's a fellow art student, by the way.
Yeah, and he is also an artist. And I think he has a salient point, which is because he's sort of talking about how, like, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. He mentions that he feels like AI as a tool, it can be a valuable thing, but the use of AI has no place in art. That's where he draws the line. And specifically, I mean, he sort of says, like, it's art that has zero substance. And then he corrects himself and says, not zero substance, it's very personal, but it's art that takes away from its own substance by not being by the artist himself.
So part of what was so interesting about this to me, when I saw the story and I saw he was fat, I was like, oh, like, is this going to be turn into like
Those
like,
fat people eat everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think because there is so much backlash to AI and so much pushback that that didn't factor into it. And even
There's no fat phobia in this article.
yes,
None.
And it's I mean, you could maybe say some of
I
the
mean,
stuff
he's a
about
big
the
boy.
like.
I'm not sure he'd be perceived as fat, but
I mean, I don't think he identifies as fat, but like I clocked it and
Yeah.
was like bracing for it. And I think And even there was something from Facebook where someone like made AI art of him eating the AI art. And I was like, but that just like, it just looked like the pictures of him. Like it wasn't like this deformed, cartoonish fat thing, which often happens with fat people AI stuff.
Well, because the AI knows to make fun of fat people.
Yeah. But I think people agree with him and what he did.
Yes.
And that like, so this didn't turn into like a slimy fat phobia story.
Yeah, it could have, because I mean, the form of protest was by eating the art.
Yeah, but I want to insert here. It's very important for what we're talking about that this was not a big woman. This was not a heavyset woman. This was a heavyset guy.
Yeah.
who is very cis het looking
and is fat, but I think it would be completely different if it was a fat woman. It would be 100. Oh my god! I think it would have turned into that if it was a fat woman.
Oh, it would be like fat women can't take a joke and a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
yeah.
But I don't know. Thank you to Fighting the Good Fight. Great job.
Yes.
Fucking going down on those Polaroid photos, because it gave me so much joy to see this story and then see the story come out with like the interview with him.
He's convicted and is going to serve. He's going to have to pay a penalty, maybe serve some jail time. Like and they asked him if he regretted that, and he's like, I mean, I'm not happy that it was me, but I have no regrets.
Yeah.
This is important to do.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, Eagle, take us away. Fat Watch 2026.
Golly. Well, speaking of big people making an impact, from Polygon, we have the Jacob Wysocki on the sincerity of his viral "You Are a Regular Guy" rant. And I defer to y'all because I have no idea what this is. Zero zilch.
So I have.
Neither does Don.
No, I watched the video and I'm just like, I don't understand.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I will say, I had Dan set this up because I was curious. I didn't think really in any world he'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing. I understand now. And I think that's why it's important to talk about this, because I think it is our audience is either you're a regular guy and you get it, or you're a regular guy and you don't get it. So I want Michael to kind of.
I'd just like to say I have never been a regular guy.
As our resident dropout expert, to kind of give some context for this.
Yes, please.
So the Jacob Wysocki is a comedian. He is a cast member on Dropout, and the show that he is on is an improv show where they give you a prompt and then you perform a bit for a certain amount
Which
of time.
I have seen clips of on Instagram.
Yeah, and I featured them a year ago. I gave him a chubby for his work on Dropout.
Yeah.
So this particular moment, so he's a fat comedian. He's doing this prompt, and the prompt is these self-affirmations are a little bit off. So he's sort of, the three cast members are kind of like talking into the mirror at themselves, and the jokes are just what the prompt is. And then it ends with him kind of cruising in. I think I'll play the clip of it.
I think you should.
Here.
Yeah.
These daily affirmations are a bit off.
You've killed before and you'll kill again. Don't do it. Don't pick lasagna again. You're really becoming the lasagna guy at work. Just getting to the gym is half the battle, because you still have no idea where the gym is.
You are a regular guy. You can enter a space. You are a regular guy. You can enter a room. You are a regular guy. You can do that transaction. You are a regular guy. You know how to answer the phone. You are a regular guy. You know what sleep is. You are a regular guy. You know how to wake up. You are a regular guy. You know how to move through space. You are a regular guy. You know what it means to be you.
Wow, I found that one strangely inspiring.
So it's fascinating because Jake is a beloved cast member, both by fans and also by the people, in Dropout and on the shows. And he always seems to be able to dial into really specific experiences that people just like relate to in a very authentic way. So for instance, there was an episode of a different show where the prompt was say something vulnerable. And they had to bleep his because it
was so vulnerable.
Yeah, and it literally said too vulnerable for TV. But that's the kind of place he tends to go to. That's how he pulls for his comedy. It's oftentimes very self-referential and authentic.
That's what I thought of with this article, because I had heard about that from you and seen his style of just very like vulnerable, but just like it's like you said, a very specific type of thing.
To be clear, and that is to say, let me ask, what we're trumpeting here is this very talented comedians going viral with this bit.
With this bit, but the bit itself has the reason why it ends with Sam saying, "Wow, that was actually kind of touching," is because it is speaking to an experience that I think a lot of fat people have, but I think also just a lot of non-fat people have too, which is this, kind of existing inside your head before you do something that you don't feel comfortable doing, that you quote unquote should,
right?
That you're supposed to feel normal. You're supposed to be able to, like, for instance, I have had the very specific experience many times, but the one that comes to mind is as a kid, being a teenager, having a job and getting a bank account and not feeling comfortable enough to walk through the door of the bank to like go do that. Yes. And this is very specifically speaking to me about that moment of you're a regular guy, you can get a bank account. Like there's literally no reason
talent involved
why you shouldn't be able to just do, but it's not just that you can do it. The subtext is that you can feel comfortable doing this. You can feel comfortable moving through the world. And those words spoken by a fat person that's I think the power of this particular Fat Wars.
And he's a big boy. He looks like he could be playing a fat trucker on any show.
Oh, easily. And he's always been fat. And he talks about this at the end of the article where he's like, he sort of doesn't, like, I think a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, like I really had to pull on my life as a blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I show up, they pay me. And then
shit comes out of my mouth.
I say stuff when I go home and I get high. So like, he's never one to like trumpet himself, but I think that's kind of the point also. Like
he's a regular guy.
His work speaks for itself and people are responding to it. Like there's an Instagram account that is literally just a regular guy posting his affirmations daily. And that's it. It's literally just an account dedicated to him. And it's got like 10,000 followers at this point. So like people responded to it instantly.
Well, it's so simple, but it's something like very much like, especially like you can answer a phone.
Yeah.
Like anytime I have to answer the phone, I kind of feel like I can't, like, I just feel like weird about it. Like, I just don't, it just feels.
I think that is such a millennial thing. Maybe it's
I don't
more
think
than
it's
that.
millennial, it's anxiety.
Well, but I guess, see, my question is, are we just revealing this because now in the age of social media, everything is revealed because everybody talks about their moment to moment existence?
I mean, I think so.
Or is this a new thing, which is what I tend to think of? This is a new thing. Like all of a sudden people are anxious about very ordinary things. And this has not been the experience of humanity before this point.
I think it's half of both.
Personally, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
My interpretation has always been that like millennials and then the generations after them have been increasingly more in touch with their feelings than our generations were allowed to be.
Yes.
I fight down my, like, I understand what Trevor's saying. And my first instinct is like, oh, I don't have that. And then when I think about it for a half a beat, I do have that. I'm just so used to just crushing it down as soon as I have it because I have to operate, right?
Yeah.
So my automatic reflex is so automatic that I'm barely aware of the fact that I'm pushing down that emotional response.
Yeah.
So I think what you're talking about does exist for us. I think that we're just so used to handling it in the way that we've been taught to that we're literally out of touch with the damage it may have done to us. You know?
And I think there's a lot, I think there used to be a lot less room for, existing outside of the norm. Whereas now, again, to that point of like, is it just that people talk about online a lot? Well, kind of, yeah, because then you can see like, oh, this is not just a me thing. This really weird experience that I wasn't even necessarily conscious of that I relate to it's not just me. It's and that's kind of crazy.
I get that. And that's the value in it. And that's the discovery. And that's everybody's having this aha moment. Obviously, I can't think of this applying to me. And I'm trying to think, is it applying to anyone else I know, but we never talk about it, like Don says?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the difference is, so like when you and Don were growing up, like people may have been in therapy, but you didn't talk about it. Mm-hmm. And for millennials, you
only talk about it.
Well, like
it's part of their
language. Kids and teens would be in therapy, and they would start to talk about it with their friends, and it would be less of a stigma. Mm-hmm. And then that generation is going online, and now we're communicating through the internet, and it is being discussed online, and it is now just less of a thing.
I don't know if you remember when the concept of millennials being uncomfortable with picking up the phone started being discussed. I think like Boomer and Gen Xers were very much along the lines of like, well, fuck them. What's wrong with them then? Like there's like, that's just an issue, right? There was no listening to the actual problem being presented, the feelings they were saying.
Well, or I think my generation was, well, then manage it.
To bring it home, part of now people managing it is talking about it.
Yeah.
And making a video saying, you are a regular guy, you can answer the phone. And just being able to like share that with people so they can be like, I'm a regular guy, I can answer the phone. And I think it's just so great that it is such a nonsensical, practical, like, why is this a thing? But it's like, because it is so relatable.
Okay.
Relating to these things can be difficult sometimes because like I feel like if we feel like things don't necessarily directly affect us, we can be somewhat dismissive of them, which might lead us over to our main topic of accepting compliments, accepting kind things that are said to you, and also to a lesser extent accepting polite rejections, right? And like someone turning down your advance in a perfectly reasonable, kind way that still may cheese you off to unbelievable depths. And why is that?
Yeah.
You know? For example, I originally broached this topic because I was flirting with somebody on a bigger city. I sent them an emote flirt, right? And then I got back an emote flirt from them that I didn't know existed, which was, thank you, not interested, right? And my initial reaction was, oh, well, fuck you.
That's not an emote you can send back.
At which point he sent back flames.
Yeah. Which, in my defense, I think is kind of a natural reaction.
Oh, of course.
But when I paused to think about it for a sec, right? He responded to the flirt. He let me know his feelings in a way that allowed me to stop, worrying about where things are, right? He let me know where things stood in a healthy, acceptable way that lets me proceed forward with respect. What is the other option, right? Shoot me a nasty message or ignore me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't like either of those options.
I don't like either of them.
Yeah.
I think what he did, like, while there is a momentary sting from that thank you, but no thank you emote, it is ultimately the most healthy response that I think he could give in the context of that exchange.
Right. And here's the other perspective, because I know someone, and we were talking long ago about this, and he said, and we were talking about this very issue, and he said, oh, I could never tell someone I wasn't interested in them. I said, well, then what do you do if you're not interested? And he was basically, well, either you ghost them, or if it's at an event, you hide from them the entire event.
Oh my God.
Yes. And then you blame them because you're having to hide.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
Oh yeah, people do that. Oh my God, so-and-so's here. He won't leave me alone. No, you just didn't complete the communication.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of that out there. Like, oh, he's stalking me. No, he just wants an answer. Yes, no.
Well, and I will say, and I don't know if this was the case with him at all, but I have heard from many chubs that frequently the response from a chaser who has flirted with them and then the chub rejects the chaser,
they go ballistic,
is that they get nuked. They get some kind of horrible fat phobic, vindictive,
which is
nasty
the clearest
message.
I told you so in the world. Like, you're right. I am so not interested in you.
Thank you for, but
Thanks
of course
it
feels
horrible. Awful, but it's not personal.
It's awful, and in some ways I just find it hilarious because it is so like, well, no, shut up. Like, I don't like you. You never mind.
Who'd want you anyway? Well, apparently you, dude.
Well, let me turn over the flip side of this conversation real quick then. So it's difficult to accept that negative moment, right? So we in the immediate sense, when you get that no thank you emote, you immediately go no. Now, what happens when someone sends you a compliment?
Yes.
In real life, I'm not even talking emotes right now, because I think it's easy to accept a flirty emote. It's so low stakes for most people. But if someone compliments you, tell you what, Michael, would you give me a compliment?
I think you have an incredible speaking voice.
You know, sometimes if I get some tea in the morning, it's kind of okay. But yeah, in general, like I don't love you. You hear that? So I am
like
attempting
deflecting.
to acknowledge the compliment because that's what you do. But then I'm attempting to sidestep it. I'm calling this complimentary jujitsu. I am attempting to use the compliment against itself to move it out of the way and not put it in the same zip code I'm in.
Well, but also the function of language like that. And there's a lot of versions of it. There's, wow, you look great today. Oh, well, yeah.
If you say so.
If you say so, it's like, well, I had tea this morning or whatever. And
I have good days, I have bad days.
Yeah, exactly. And what it's, the purpose of the retort is to say, your compliment is inaccurate. It is simply your temporary misperception.
Yeah. And I find that I'm not going to say fat people in general. I'm going to say me as a fat person. I'm very good at dodging compliments. I can go into like Matrix style bullet time.
And the same people are then like, oh my God, why does no one notice me?
Yeah.
Why is no one coming on to me?
Yeah. And how do you do this? Do you find yourself avoiding compliments or
Practice.
Yeah, and I think Michael and I are on very different sides of this issue. Not sides of this issue, but you experience this from one perspective. I experience it from another. For me, somebody will give me a compliment online, and I'm not interested. See, if I'm interested, great. He likes me, I like him. We're off and running.
Sure.
Great. Thank you very much. And you, sir, blah, blah, blah. But if I'm not interested, I want to be careful to acknowledge the compliment, but not lead them on.
Right.
That is a little trickier.
Yeah.
I'm happy to talk to anyone. Don't get me wrong. And if they just want to talk, if they want to, they want to talk about Sondheim, yay, let's do that.
That's easy.
But if I don't want to I don't want to waste their time, and I don't want to give the impression like if I'm interested when I'm not.
I was having a lively discussion with a good friend of mine about this exact thing, which is why it was sort of hilarious that we were all having these same conversations at the same time. Podcast, and he was saying, so I had the exact same statement that Dan just said, which is like when somebody gives me a compliment in a bigger city, I make a point, assuming they actually put any amount of thought into it. Like, you are hot, that's probably not going to get much of a response. Maybe if they,
I type back thanks.
Yeah,
and
maybe
with a little emoji so it doesn't look arrogant. The little prayer emoji, the little like I think of the hands pressed together as the sort of like, namaste, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's meant for, but that's how I use it.
Yeah.
I like to do the little
hashtag.
it's like the little like blushy, smoochy, closed eyes.
Oh, that's cute.
Like,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that's it.
But I'll say like, why thank you, something like that. Like that to me is a very like accept the compliment, and then
End it.
But my friend was like, oh, but you're like you're gonna give people you're gonna show disingenuous interest by that. And I was like, I don't know that I agree with that.
as someone who's gotten a couple thank yous back? No, you're not.
Yeah, I
Absolutely
didn't
not.
see it that way either. And also, more specifically, there have been several occurrences in my life where somebody that I was interested in, we eventually got together, and when I was talking to them, it came up like, oh, like why,
Why have we done this sooner?
yeah, and it was literally the other person in the chub would say, oh, I never reached out to you because I thought you were out of my league.
Yeah.
And which is kind of heartbreaking for me because it's like, oh, that just wasn't necessary.
Well, and how many people is it stopping him from contacting, besides you?
Right. And so
I've also heard that, and I will be honest, every time I've heard that from somebody, it's been kind of shocking who it's coming from.
Yes, and chubs are gobsmacked when they hear from a hot chaser like, oh, I didn't know if I could contact you. You're so amazing.
Yeah.
it totally goes both ways.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point was I make a point to thank people that actually put even just a little bit of thought into a compliment for that reason, because they, maybe it was nothing for them and they just threw it out there and that's fine. But in a lot of cases, it's somebody that had to kind of like work up some degree of courage to sort of reach out and just say, fuck it. You're kind of putting yourself out there, and potentially you might get the rejection that we all hate to get. And so I want to just like accept it and be gracious about it. It takes none of my time. It's so, to me, is like such a simple gesture. But that also kind of led into this thing where he was like, well, I don't do that, but he's a chub. Oh. And then there's a dynamic of, okay, well, hold on. Like, is there a difference?
The
with
asymmetrical relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like if a chaser is just ignoring all the chubs that reach out and give them compliments if he's not interested, is that different from a chub ignoring all of the reaching out and compliments from chasers they're not interested in? Like to me, I feel I feel like it's
the same to me. Maybe I'm missing the
It
question.
should feel the same, but it often is not.
Okay.
It often is not. Because, look, chasers have, whatever you want to call it, there's a privilege. They have thin privilege, usually.
Yeah.
Usually. Or they have thinner privilege if they're not as fat as a chub. So there's sort of this unspoken rule that you need to be gracious in those compliments. Whereas, for example, no one would say to the woman who is in the other side of that asymmetrical relationship, like a lot of chubs are, oh, if a man compliments you, you must acknowledge them. Like no one would say that to a woman,
gotcha,
right?
yeah.
And
I just thought of the JD Vance thing of like, you could say thank you.
yeah, no, you don't have to. You could just keep going. And I think, and that what that has to do with is privilege.
Mm-hmm.
What that has to do with is where the slot you occupy in a society that has a lot of slots.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see a chub's argument for saying like, nope, don't even have to. I think, and therefore that does make it more incumbent upon chasers. Can anybody say thank you? Well, of course they can.
yeah.
So I haven't really experienced the same problem with online communications. If someone sends me a compliment by text, it doesn't trip me up the way a verbal one does. Okay, it's when somebody is in my face complimenting me brutally right in front of me, like a dick,
Just like a drive-by compliment.
Got a
know.
compliment, being unrelenting in their generosity towards you.
Okay, so I've gotten better at this over the past couple years because of a new practice I've implemented.
What is this new practice, Don?
My new practice is when they address me directly, especially with a compliment, right? If I'm using my brain, I won't respond immediately, right?
Okay.
Meaning, if I immediately respond, it's going to be a
Deflected.
It's going to be a deflection.
Yeah.
If I pause for a second, right? 1 second is all it takes, and just what did they say? Process it, and what do I say all the time, boys? Try to believe them. Believe them.
You absolute lunatic.
That second is all it can take to help sort of recontextualize and get from the deflection to a, wow, thank you.
Yeah.
And the wow, thank you, guess what? That can be sufficient.
Well,
it doesn't have to be Shakespearean. No. Right?
Thank you. And what you're saying is important because you're actually talking about taking it in, which is what people want to see. Like if you just say, oh, you're really hot. Thank you. Like, oh, you didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Like you needed that. And I've also been, this is hysterical. I've actually been in the situation where people have ghosted me in person if I compliment them. Like I say, wow, you look really great. And they just sit there in silence until they change the topic.
Well, okay, so
I don't know what to do with that.
that is kind of what I wanted to address. Because I definitely have had the same thing, and I still kind of I have to do the same thing Don does, where it's like I got to kind of you got to take a second, you got to internalize it, take it in and not deflect or, try. But what I find awkward that I think is still useful looking into is okay, somebody gives you a compliment and you take that beat and then you say something like, thank you. We're done. There is a conversational end that occurs in that moment where what is next? Who speaks next? Do I say something? I probably should say something because they just said something to me. And so just for the flow of the conversation, I am also thinking, okay, well, I can't just say thanks and then stop speaking.
I love this.
And so I want to know,
can I respond to this?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. You can't just say thank you and then let it sit there because now you're saying, and what else would you like to say to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the natural knee-jerk response, right? If someone compliments you, go oh, you too.
Yeah, to throw it back.
You throw it back, and which is fine if you mean it, but very often, I mean, I don't know. I've seen this on shows, and I've seen it some in person where people go I didn't say that, so you would compliment me back.
Yeah.
And so what I think, but you do need a follow-up. It can be anything. It can be, oh, thank you, Don. So what are you doing later today?
Yeah.
Or if that sounds too like, come on, come hither, then it could be, oh, thank you, Don. How did you choose that shirt?
I am also going to make the suggestion of offering a chance at vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right? When someone compliments you, and I'm not saying make a big production about it, maybe respond with how that made you feel in that moment of just like, someone compliments my eyes. Like, thank you. Thanks. That's really nice of you. I appreciate that.
That's what I've settled on, which is thank you. That makes me feel really good.
Which is lovely.
And it's just a little bit extra. And then maybe there's an authentic returned compliment after that.
Yeah.
But just giving them back what you would hope that they would want out of it.
And this is the other thing that I want to say about that tactic. One, it's not the end point to the conversation. Just like Michael just said, for me, it's a rhythm breaker, right? It's, you just complimented me. I'm going to stop for a sec. Wow, that felt really nice. And while that beat happens and we share that moment, I'm also grasping for the next thing that I say, or they are, right? But in that shared moment, I can go anywhere. It no longer has to be at what they just said, but I've acknowledged what they said now, and now that's a real thing between us, and that's good.
If you want to play the game at full volume, you can even say, "Oh wow, thank you. I'm usually terrible at accepting compliments."
Yeah,
for sure.
Emotional honesty and vulnerability in those moments is a springboard to real conversations about yourself.
And you will be amazed at how things just open up between people when you're emotionally honest. I don't mean vomit on their feet when, something comes up.
But the truth is, to get to a point of emotional honesty, someone has to open the door first.
Yes.
It's not something, you can't both open the door to emotional honesty at the same time.
We have it scheduled for Tuesday at 5. Yeah.
I would be curious, Professor Dan.
Oh my.
What do you suggest people do when they get a compliment, especially maybe at a Bigger Bakers or something, about their body that they don't like?
That is unwelcome.
Yes.
Right. That is actually just you don't want to hear it.
Well, there's a lot of varieties of that depending on in what way is it unwanted. So one way you could compliment someone that is unwanted is like, wow, you are really fat. And for a lot of chasers, that is a compliment. And
oh my God. No, okay.
And then there's another sort of compliment, which is like, wow, I would love to fuck the shit out of you. And that is another kind of compliment. These are more common online, obviously, because few people have the cojones to say it in person. But if they're drunk enough.
So I was witness to this.
Okay.
Oh, no.
And I did end up intervening because it was just like, you should not do this.
Somebody needs to rescue this.
Chaser that went up to a chub and like, oh my God, you're so much fatter than the last time I saw you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like this chub, not a gainer. So it was not a compliment. So what would you suggest? Just like
For the chub. If the chub is fairly neutral about it, like they know that, and it's like, yeah, sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down in weight, then it can be like, oh, I guess thanks for noticing, but I'm not really interested in talking about it. Like you can shut it down gently. If they won't, then you can say, like I said, we're not talking about that, and leave. I kind of want to say something about boundaries here. Boundaries are important. So boundaries are often mistaken for what someone else is allowed or not allowed to do. That is not a boundary. That is at best a request or some sort of requirement for someone else. A boundary is a statement about you and for you of what you will and will not tolerate. So the boundary, if that person has crossed a boundary, number one, they probably don't know if it's their first interaction with you or they don't know you. And second, so that would be the first thing. Like, that is a boundary we are not crossing right now.
So
or simply, I don't appreciate comments like that.
So to reiterate, a boundary isn't a boundary until it has been clearly demarcated.
Well, it may be, but they don't know about it. It's like a law that no one's published.
If they don't know about it, you haven't demarcated it. That's the point.
Exactly. It doesn't exist for the other person as a boundary.
Yeah.
It's just you got upset.
I just wanted to underline that.
Exactly. Yeah, it has to be communicated. And secondly, it's not about them. It's about what you're going to do. It's not about what you will do to them if they cross your boundary. It's about the actions you will take to maintain that boundary. So if the boundary is, I don't appreciate comments like that, and they do it again, you simply remove yourself. Or if you want to take the long way, change the subject. But it is about you don't argue about it. You simply enact it.
I love that this is just literally the Rubicon conversation again, but for personal boundaries instead of societal boundaries.
Do you have a recommendation? To me, leaving a conversation, it actually strikes me as somewhat confrontational. So that's something I think.
Yeah, but it's behind you, so you're not being confronted.
But I think some people are naturally non-confrontational and find that difficult. Do you have a suggestion for another alternative?
Yeah, so I would point out that discomfort is a discomfort in maintaining boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And look, if there were no boundaries, people would just go wherever they want. I mean, that's why people have fenced yards. That's why people have, keep their dogs in their yard and don't let them run the streets. There are boundaries. So does the dog like that? Usually not. Do your neighbor, does your neighbor like that? Very much. So, boundaries serve a function, and you bump your head on them. And that's all it has to be. It could be like, oh, I didn't realize there was a thing there. I didn't realize, I just bumped my head on that. And if you do it graciously, it doesn't have to be a big deal. And graciously means like, I'm sorry, I'd rather not discuss that.
Yeah. That's what I was going to submit was that reserve any, I suppose you don't have to, but if you want to have the least confrontational interaction possible, if that's important, reserve the, whatever blow up might be bubbling underneath you from the emotional reaction for after they have a chance to respond to your response.
Yeah.
So they say something, you don't like it. You say, yeah, thanks. I'm not actually interested in talking about that. Mm-hmm. And then they have a chance to either have their own, they can call you out and say something nasty, or they can say, oh, I'm so sorry.
Or, oh my God, why?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. But it's hot.
Yeah. And at which point you reiterate the boundary. That's what I meant by we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
And would you like, and then, me, because I'm me, I'd be like, would you like to continue this conversation or are we done now? Mm-hmm. But that's very confrontational. That's very Dan. You can, if they say, oh my God, well, why? And you can simply smile and say, would you excuse me a moment? And you just leave.
Just
bye. Bye-bye.
So there's one other thing that I want to, I'll be honest. I don't know how much of a problem this is for other people. I'm aware this is a problem I run into. I consider myself to be a conversationally skilled person, right?
Yes.
I can carry a conversation with most folks.
Yep.
That for me, I am aware that part of that means maintaining a certain rhythm to the conversation. I say something, that person responds within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Then I respond within a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to encourage people when you're talking with somebody that you have a personal interest or might have a personal interest in, or you're feeling things out, don't let yourself become a slave to conversational rhythm.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah.
Being what I said before about pausing when someone takes a compliment, gives a compliment, for me, that breaks the conversational rhythm, right? That's why it's not easy for me not to parry the compliment, because my automatic response is
throw the ball back.
Have to keep the rhythm.
Throw the ball back.
And the rhythm means parry the compliment, right?
I just got this image of Don playing volleyball and leaping high into the air and just spiking the volleyball down
into the face of the person.
Is that the compliment?
Yeah.
So my suggestion is when you are actually taking the time and taking the chance on talking to someone you're interested in, that second I suggested you take before you respond to the compliment, take a lot of seconds during that conversation. Let the conversational rhythm be a little bit unsteady because you're taking in new things, and you gotta listen when you're talking to a new person. And for some of us, we have to be a little more careful in the words we choose, right?
Oh, yeah.
So taking that extra second will not only help you from slipping into automatic mistakes that are just built into your conversational style, but it'll help you live a little bit more in the conversation and make it a little more meaningful and give it a little more weight.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who have conversation to have conversation because the alternative is terrifying.
Yeah. And 50% of it becomes autopilot.
Yeah.
So
at least. So now that we've solved that problem,
thank
God. Do we have a tip? I feel like we do.
We do have a tip.
I love tips.
We're still fighting against fascism every day, every week, every breathing.
By which you mean fighting the government?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I saw this shirt on my Instagram feed. From Softcore, which I don't know if I feel like they were in our gift guide a couple years ago. And they do it's a plus size brand, and they have these awesome shirts that say "Better fat than a fascist."
And there's a wonderful picture of a voluptuous Renaissance woman.
Yes,
on the
and there's a sword, and there's like cows and pigs at the top, and this kind of old like wood carving kind of like stamp.
Think English country manner.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's available 5XL to large. So sorry, smalls, you're left out.
Are there any voluptuous male models on the shirts?
No, it's just the one design.
Okay.
But it's a T-shirt, so
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can wear it.
It's a unisex size, navy or maroon, and 5% of all sales of that design from Softcore will go to NAFA Quarterly. So you can support fat liberation while fighting fat fascism. No, sorry. You can support fat liberation while fighting fascism with fashion.
Your fatness and
goodness
your
gracious.
fashion.
All the F's.
Shopsoftcore.com.
Yes.
And if you go there, at least at the moment, they have a 15% off pop-up. So you can get a little deal on the way. How about a bit for today?
So one of the things that we were talking about today were compliments that were difficult to, the difficulty in accepting compliments. But what if the compliment itself is something that's difficult to take? Our bit today, each of us is going to discuss a somewhat awkward or memorably strange compliment that
You know,
we've gotten
Don, I
in the
love
past.
that you have the courage to do bits like this.
I guess I'll lead it off. So when I was graduating from high school, this was 12th grade, right? You have to keep in mind, I went to this thing called, it was a Steiner school, which meant I had the same teachers from kindergarten through 12th grade.
Oh, wow.
That like these, you could not get away with anything in these schools because they know you. These teachers knew me.
Better than your own parents.
One of the many experimental progressive children's education programs in the United States.
You know, and it was mostly good.
Yeah.
The problem is that some of those teachers have their own prejudices that come with them.
Right.
And so I remember that literally it was my last day of high school. And as we were leaving each of our classes that day, a lot of the teachers found moments to have goodbyes with the students, right? One-on-one, to say like, you know, like I value my time with you. Like I saw you grow up. You are of value to me. I wish you the best in the world.
Lovely.
Right? It is a genuinely wonderful thing. And very personal. Like I said, these people knew me.
You spent 12 years with them.
And so I guess it wasn't terribly shocking when the woodworking teacher I had, after woodworking class, we were all lined up and we were shaking his hand on the way out the door. I was the last one. And he held on to I'm shaking his hand and I'm getting ready to go out the door. And he holds on to my hand, right? And so like I wait a beat after everyone's left. And he looks me in the eye and he's being very genuine, right? And he says like, look, I just wanted you to know, like, I've seen you grow up and I've seen you embrace your manliness as you've gotten older. And, you know, like you've become more of a man as you
man's man.
Well, I'm beginning to realize like he's like saying you're not as effeminate as you once were as a child.
You've
give
learned
me
to
much
mask.
less of a gay vibe
Congratulations.
than you did over the years, right?
And you're masking much better now.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, thank you. You know? And I remember leaving because like he's trying to give me something genuine. He's trying to
Because it
give
meant
me a
so
mark
much
of
to him that
respect.
you were doing better.
Yeah, and like the worst part is there is a little lizard brain part of my little kid trying to pass heart that went yay. You know?
Well, because acceptance. Because I get to fit in. So maybe there's a reframe in there that is something to the effect of like, you know, when parents are talking about like, you know, hypothetically like, oh well, what would you do if your kid was gay? It's like, well, I wouldn't want them, if I could choose, I wouldn't want that, but only because I wouldn't want them to have to deal with the way the world treats gay people.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's something in there of he thinks that you have an easier life ahead of you where you're not going to be, I don't know, picked on or like singled out for having a trait that maybe he wasn't assigning value to the trait, just he was happy that you wouldn't have to deal with that.
In retrospect, I think that's what I tend to cling to. Like, I don't feel like, I mean, it was a homophobic moment, but I don't feel it was an anti-gay moment on his part.
No.
You know?
I mean, and it's possible he genuinely was, I don't know, complimenting your childhood development process.
Yeah, maybe,
I don't know.
maybe.
Which to him is obviously gender marked.
Yeah. But it's just one of those moments where, like, again, this was a good man to me. He taught me well, and he did right by me.
Yeah.
It's just a weird moment in passing.
And I bet you made a hell of a birdhouse that year.
I made a printer stand.
Oh, wow. There you go.
With dovetail joints. It was beautiful.
Oh, damn.
He's no sissy. He's not building a birdhouse.
12 years of woodworking. Yo, you're really.
How about you, Dan?
I've got two. One I haven't told before. Yeah, and I think people can relate to this. So I was a few years, I don't really remember when. I think it was, I'm guessing I was out of grad school. And I'm talking to, let's call it an old family friend.
Okay.
And Jack Petrak. I can say his name because he's long since dead, and everybody he knows is dead. So,
Good riddance.
I made sure. I don't hold grudges. I have no surviving enemies. So his daughter, one of his daughters, he had two daughters. One of his daughters was one of my very first babysitters.
Okay.
So that's how long this relationship with the families goes back. Right, he was a work colleague of my dad's. His younger daughter was one of my babysitters, and so I'm getting together. There's a moment with, I don't know, my dad was somewhere. We were at this group thing. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't. It was a private conversation between him and me, and he starts saying, "Oh well, you know, Dan, you know, don't worry. You know, I'm sure you'll find your way. You'll find your way in the world because." It can be tough. And, you know, a lot of times young people don't know what they want to do. And I just want you to know that, I have faith in you. I have faith that you'll find your thing.
Okay.
And in my mind, I had quite already found my thing. Thank you very much. I had found it 10 years ago.
Oh no.
I was waiting for this.
This was you.
I was picturing you at like age 12 getting this.
No, this is after graduate school.
Oh no.
Oh, I somehow missed that detail.
That is after graduate school.
Jesus
And remember, I think I opened with that. I think I opened with that.
I know, but I forgot it because you did your context and then it got left behind.
Yeah. So and remember, he and I haven't spoken in a decade.
Yeah.
I go back to my father and I said, you know, Dad, Jack Petrak just gave me condolences on my career. Where would he have gotten that idea?
Oh no.
Because he and I haven't talked in a decade. I wonder where he got that notion.
How would he know? And where would he have found that out from? That's brutal.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Trevor.
I have two. So one was just someone looked. This was on a cruise, and a guy looked at my feet, and he's like, "I love your calluses on my feet." It's just like,
Okay.
Yeah, but I kind of get that. They're fascinating.
no, whatever. And that was just like, no, deflect.
Hold on.
Spike that down.
Trevor, take a second. Let the
No, it was like,
compliment land.
there have been times where my feet have have looked much better, and this was like probably one of the roughest my feet looked.
And to be fair, for people who don't know, Trevor regularly takes a belt sander to his feet.
And I will have a little pedicure and look very cute. They'll look like cute little hams. No, this other story is I feel like, I don't know. I don't think I've told this on the podcast before. In high school, I was out on a date with a chaser, and he was a teen model.
Oh, wow.
And
by the way, you should know that Trevor was into this community even in high school.
yes. And he was very apprehensive about I don't know if he was out or not, but I think certainly not out as liking fat guys. So it was we were at Potbelly Subs. I don't know if shout out to Potbelly. I don't.
Oh, Potbelly.
Yeah.
I thought it was an Italian place. Potbelly.
And we ran into someone I knew, and that was a thing for him. Like that, like, it's like, that, like, someone who knew me saw us. And so then later, as these things often go, we were making out in the back of his car. And there was a point where he stopped and he said, "I love how you're not as hot as I am."
Oh my God.
And then like we were making out and I was like, oh, like I don't really know how to feel about this.
Yeah, now I have a boner.
And
Jesus.
But like he was really hot. And I had this like kind of little internal conflict, like, you young man should stop this and march out of the car, and slam it. No. Yeah. And I was just like, and like,
I'll let you have the fantasy.
Yeah.
Get what you want out of it.
Well, it's like, I'm
Get out of there.
assuming we're through the looking glass, people. There's nuances. There's like I think maybe that's the like best way he could say, "I love how fat you are," or something. Or maybe,
no, I think he meant what he said. Yeah,
I don't know. I was making out with a teen model. Were you making out with a teen model?
Yeah, that is the takeaway here, people.
That's still a win for little high school Trevor to be.
I love that
making out with a teen model.
Michael.
Okay, I have a little game I want to play with mine. And it's very simple. I will simply say the compliment that somebody gave me, which there's kind of a pattern to it. And then I want you guys to guess what context of my life this compliment came up in.
Oh, boy.
And I'm curious if we can get there. So first, this was a guy. He sort of looked me over and was like, "Oh, wow, those pants look really good. Those pants, like your pants are really, they're hot. Like you're hot. You're hot in those pants." And it sort of just stumbled out of his mouth and it kept evolving. And it went from a compliment of an item of clothing I was wearing to just,
You're generically
started
hot.
calling me hot.
Yeah.
Out of the blue.
Yes. And so, of
Very
course,
out of
you
the
being
blue.
you ran as fast as you could.
Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? I'm curious if you guys have any. I will say I'm no more hints. You can ask me.
So
for
I
if you
am
want.
thinking that this is not. My first thought was personal trainer, like in the gym, and just like what, like that. It was like you were wearing workout pants, and like it was kind of like a no homo thing. But I'm almost assuming
it
maybe it was,
totally turned into a homo thing.
I don't know. I don't necessarily. Then I'm thinking maybe it was like a work thing.
Okay.
Where it was like they're like, "Oh, you're hot in those pants," like because it's their pants and they're hot, and then it was like,
but you already have those pants look great, and then it migrates to no, actually, you're really hot in those pants. Mm-hmm. I mean, if that's the correct evolution.
That is what happened.
Okay, that's not backpedaling, that's front pedaling.
I think it's just like you don't. When you change gears on a bike and you're trying to pedal and nothing's happening, and you're just like you're pedaling forwards and you're like pedaling backwards, and it's just kind of this very loose thing.
I feel like this had to have happened at a place where like this little monologue was even more awkward.
Yes, that's why I think. Yeah.
So I'm going to go with family reunion.
Oh wow, that's an interesting guess.
I think this is something where the guy is actually discovering what he means as he's talking. That's my supposition. So, because otherwise, why would you make it worse when it was fine? It's because actually, no, it's not the pants. It's kind of the way they drape on you. And they wouldn't drape on you like that if your ass wasn't so big and amazing. It's really because you're really amazing and sexual. Like they're kind of discovering this and I was all. So I'm going to say, so when would that have happened? This is my whole story. I think it's a straight guy, maybe a roommate, maybe high school, but I don't know if you didn't have that kind of high school experience. I'm going to say it's an early roommate.
That's an interesting guess. So I will say none of you are quite correct. However, Trevor gets half credit because I have received the same compliment, not quite as awkwardly delivered, at work. But this was not at work. This was about a month ago while I was playing soccer.
Oh.
And the guy is this super nice, kind of like puppy dog personality who like always is really excited to see me and other people, but always comes over to say hi to me. And it was in the middle of a game. I was playing goalkeeper and I had sort of collected the ball and we were sort of all moving into the next phase of the game. And he just like was running by and like gives me this sort of like drive-by weird evolving compliment, and I felt felt good. Like I was like, yeah, okay.
The funny part is,
But you were running.
I'm picturing this poor guy somewhere like, I can't believe I said that. That was so stupid.
That is not how you get a first date.
And the thing is, he's done this before. I just, and some of the other versions were more interesting. I just couldn't quite remember the wording and I didn't want to get it wrong. But if anyone's curious, I have some of those clips posted on my Bigger City profile. So if you want to see me playing soccer, it's just regular soccer
See Michael
footage.
being hot in his
But
pants.
I've got my hot pants on, so you can go see him. Soccer chaser.
So, dear listener, do you have hot pants that you need Michael to take a look at? Trevor, where could they send us pictures of them in hot pants?
Well, we're on Blue Sky and Instagram as @BigFatGayPod. I almost said Bigger City. We're 5 stars everywhere. 5 stars on Facebook, 5 stars in a review on your preferred podcast platform. Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/BigFatGayPod. See the articles we talked about at www.bigfatgaypod.com, baby. Well, maybe you're hot in your pants, so you're kicking them off, and they just kind of they hit the wall with a particular thud
And steam.
and then steam, and they fall, but there's a weight to them, and so you're like, oh, what's going on with my pants? And you go and you're shaking them out, and then something just shakes loose and tumbles across the ground, and it's Michael.
So-
Michael's hot in your pants, so
Watch out!